Well, Russian dictator Vladimir Putin is acting more like a madman than a strong man these days. The Western world, in unusual fashion, is largely united in its opposition to his unprovoked invasion of Ukraine. Putin is being marginalized, and the damage from the Ukraine war, whether he ultimately takes over the entire country or not, may be very much long-standing. So who wins in all of this? At this point, it's certainly not the United States or the Ukrainians or NATO, but perhaps Communist China's Xi Jinping just solidified his position atop the new bipolar global construct, with the West on one side and the new Axis authoritarians on the other. The invasion of Ukraine didn't come as a surprise to Xi, given the growing strength of the Russia-China alliance. That, however, doesn't necessarily mean that from a military or diplomatic standpoint, the Chinese thought it was a good idea for Moscow. But they get it. To triumph over Western interests with our dialogue and democracy and, yes, division, China knows that the new Axis must have one undisputed leader, and they want to be it. This is not to say that Russia won't add weight to the authoritarian bloc, but like any mob operation, there can only be one boss. Putin's potential miscalculation on Ukraine is turning Xi from the genocidal heir to the legacy of Mao Zedong to looking more like a statesman, actually, on the world stage. It's pretty simple, really. Let the other guy look worse than you do so you don't come off looking as bad. China's nuclear protection deal with Ukraine also potentially opens the door for them to possibly broker what they could frame as a peace deal. And if they did any semblance of that, in one fell swoop, the Communist Chinese would solidify their position as the more reliable international partner and assure their supremacy over Russia in the authoritarian alliance. And whether this was a calculated move or not is anybody's guess, but it doesn't matter. If Xi Jinping helps stop the bloodshed in any way, it will send a clear message to nations in China's growing orbit that they can trust Beijing more than they can trust Washington or Moscow. It would be masterful and achieve one of the principal goals of all of this that we're seeing happen around us, namely challenging the United States as the dominant world power. It's plausible. If Putin doesn't take a scorched earth approach to conquering the people of Ukraine, he may have to settle for some sort of a deal. Now, that could work out very well for Xi and the CCP. Russia gets to keep its new republics within Ukraine's border and avoids a quagmire or expending resources to rebuild an obliterated country with 44 million people. Putin grows more reliant on Beijing. Zelensky hopefully comes out a hero and China can get the win. The Russian bear then plays second fiddle to the Red Dragon in the new Cold War. Now, that might not sit well with Putin, but it may become a political, economic, and military necessity. In Russia, China will gain a geopolitical actor willing to play the bad guy, so long as Beijing helps backstop any fallout. Like the Iranians, willing to use their terror networks to continually destabilize nations and occupy the attention of the West, Russia could be a useful tool to distract powers that often have a hard time walking and chewing gum at the same time. The use of Russia by the China-dominated alliance in this way could set up a powerful multi-front disruption strategy brought to bear by the new authoritarian bloc. Just think about it. China continues buying influence. Iran's nuclear ambitions and Islamic terrorist networks continue to create flashpoints. North Korea keeps the West guessing about its capabilities and its intentions. Socialist Venezuela, with the world's largest proven oil reserves, becomes the gas can for the new anti-Western alliance. And Russia disrupts with cyber capabilities, hybrid warfare tactics, and the threats of military incursion. So much remains new in this new world order, but one thing is certain. The authoritarians are working to drive greater power and influence, with China now very much firmly in the lead. For the United States and its allies, the question, therefore, is simple. What's our plan to counter it all? I haven't heard one. Have you?